From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Sports Bash is also presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. Sports Bash is also brought to you by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. By Coach's Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. Check them out online at coachescollectiblesny.com. Stay tuned to find out about the Coach's Collectibles item of the day. And by the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. For more information, go to martylyonsfoundation.org. Well, hi again, everyone. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We are back here at Governor's Comedy Club Podcast Studios at Governor's Comedy Club here in Levittown after a 2-week hiatus. It is so good to see Tony Walker again. I am Peter Schwartz. Thank you, everybody, for watching. 516-465. I almost forgot the number. 516-465-3990. We couldn't take phone calls at the other place, so I almost forgot the number here, but it's 516-465-3990. We could not be happier to be back, but we also want to say, and we're going to have to be there again because Tony's going to be on vacation for a couple of weeks, but we will be back at Collaborate Space Studios in Lynbrook next week and one day the week after. But I just want to thank Chris Ganem and his staff at Collaborate in Lynbrook on behalf of everybody at Sports Bash Media. I know we did this last week on the show, but just again, now that we're back here at Governor's, and we're happy to be back, but we want to thank Chris and his staff for all the hospitality that we had, and we're going to be back there next week, so we're looking forward to that and seeing Chris again. It's a great home away from home, but this is our home, and we're glad to be back here after a couple of weeks away. Again, 516-465-3990, the number to call. Make sure you're subscribing to Govs Comedy Club podcast channel on YouTube and follow Sports Bash Media on X, Instagram, and Facebook. Tony, did you miss me too?
Of course.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like, you know, what did you do for 2 weeks?
I did all the stuff that I've been putting off because I live here.
Yeah,
so.
Well, I couldn't do that because I still had to go do the show. I just had to travel a little further to go to do it in Lynbrook. But, Tony, it's great to see you. Coming up on the show, I'll be joined by Will Parkinson from the Turn on the Jets podcast, and also from Badlands, and more coverage of the Jets. And the Jets and Giants had a combined practice today at Florham Park. They're doing another one this week at the Giants facility at the Meadowlands, and they're going to play Saturday night at MetLife Stadium. The Jets and the Giants, their annual preseason game. It's a Giants home game on Saturday night at MetLife Stadium. So we're going to talk to Will. We'll get the latest on the Jets and what happened at practice today. Thursday show, we'll talk a little bit more about it later on, but we're going to kind of angle Thursday show towards the Giants. We're still working on a Giants-related guest. So today, although we'll ask Will how the Giants looked as well, but we're going to focus on the Jets today, and we're going to focus on the Giants on Thursday. We're going to have the TicketBash.com sports calendar, the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, and I know Tony's going to be excited for this because it's a great thing. It's a great Mets item, and I'll tease it with that. But we're going to have the Coach's Collectibles item of the week coming up a little bit later on in the show, so stay tuned for that. We'll talk football in a little bit with Will, but for the moment, I want to talk baseball. And I want to talk baseball both good and bad. I'll start with the bad. I'll end the segment with the good. This has been, for all baseball fans in New York, one of the most frustrating seasons that I could ever remember. And I remember I started watching baseball, I was probably 5 or 6 years old. I don't have a lot of big-time memories about it, but when I grew up, the Yankees stunk. The Mets were building towards 73. And then obviously the Mets got better in the 80s. The Yankees had that couple of years in the 70s. But for the most part, when I was growing up, early on, Mets and Yankees both stunk. There would be those peaks and valleys. The Yankees got good in the 70s. They were good, never won anything through the 80s. The Mets won in 86. And then you had the Yankees dynasty in the 90s. But before the Yankees, people forget, before the Yankees went on that dynasty, they had an abyss too. Between going to the World Series in 1981, losing to the Dodgers, and 95, the Yankees never went to the playoffs. The Mets won the World Series in 86, but they didn't go to the playoffs any other years until, they kind of got good right after the Yankees started their dynasty. So we aside from a couple of little stretches, for the most part, the Yankees and Mets kind of had abysses at the same time. But this was not supposed to be an abyss this year. This was supposed to be, based on last year, this was supposed to be the Yankees get back to the World Series, the Mets take another step after losing to the Dodgers in the NLCS, and when you think about the way these two teams were constructed, there was legitimate hope that we were going to have a Subway Series this year. Now look, best laid plans, it doesn't happen sometimes, I get it. There are no guarantees in sports. I have always said, if you're a sports owner of a team, the worst thing you could do is get up there at the podium when you buy a team or you're talking to the media. The worst thing that you could ever do is say, we're going to win a championship. Because you don't know. You just don't know. You could spend money, if everybody was a free agent after every year, if you were the Mets or the Yankees or whoever, I am going to buy the best player at every position. The best left fielder, the best center fielder, the best right fielder. Go on and on down the list. There is still no guarantee you're going to win because injuries happen. Maybe the chemistry on the team is not good. It just doesn't work out always the way you want it to work out. And that's why I would say if I was ever the owner of a team, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make it fun for every single fan. When you walk in the door, you leave the door, you're going to be entertained. You're going to have a great time. You're going to have some great food. You're going to see a good game, hopefully. You're going to have great souvenirs, all that stuff. That's all you can do. But you can also say it is our objective to put a winning team on the field every year. That's the objective. The objective is to try and compete for a championship. There's no guarantee you're going to win. But after last year, the Mets get to the NLCS, the Yankees get to the World Series, and both teams have high expectations coming into this year. And for a while, here on the show, there was a time, beginning of the year, where we're in here, all of us, whether it's Tony, me, Connor, Griffin, our intern who's back at college now, and we're all talking about, I'm talking to my family at home and friends. This could potentially be awesome. The Mets and Yankees are in first place. Could you imagine if they played another Subway Series? Now, luckily, I was not with my wife in 2000. I get it enough when the Mets beat the Yankees now from my wife and kids. I can only imagine what that would be like if they played in the World Series. But the sad part is now, I don't think that's going to happen this year. And I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed for both teams' fan bases. Because obviously as a Yankee fan, I want the Yankees to win. But this was supposed to be a year where, look, the Jets and Giants sucked last year. The Islanders didn't make the playoffs. The Devils did. The Rangers didn't. We were looking forward to baseball. Baseball was our saving grace this year. If you were a Yankee fan or a Met fan, you're like, you know what? This is great. We're going to see you in October. We're whether it's, both teams get to the World Series or both teams make a deep run, this is going to be another special October. And it was looking that way for a while. Both teams were in first place. And then the proverbial, you-know-what hit the fan. I'm trying to be clean today. But you know what that was. And now both teams are in an abyss again. And the Yankees win last night. Look, the Minnesota Twins have been the Yankees' punching bag for how many years? Going back to, how many times the Yankees spank them in the playoffs, and the regular season numbers are incredible. So I'm not shocked the Yankees won last night. But, oh my God, what have the Yankees done in the last few weeks? I mean, it's been awful. It's hard to watch. It's the worst when you're a fan of a team and you can't even put the game on and watch it. And that's how I feel about the Yankees. They are just horrible to watch. And it's frustrating. I just don't see how it's going to get any better. I just don't. And I don't want to sound like I'm stepping on the toes of my colleague at WFAN, Brandon Tierney, who's a dear friend of mine, but his rant on his show yesterday was dead on balls accurate. Everybody's got to go. And I've been saying this. I've been saying it in spots. This is not just an Aaron Boone problem. This is, again, you've heard me say this on this show. You've heard me say it in other places. A successful sports franchise starts at the top. It starts at the top. I beat a dead horse about the Jets about this all the time. And maybe Woody has finally gotten it if he has stepped back now with the Jets. But it starts at the top with ownership. And how could Hal Steinbrenner sit there and watch this happen? His father is rolling over in his grave. And I get it. Brian Cashman, when you look at wins and losses, he's got an unbelievable resume. Truth be told, you go back to the first day on the job as the GM. Remember, he was in the front office for years before that, and he inherited Bob Watson's job in 1998 and his team. So he wins in 98, 99, 2000, World Series in 01 and 03. And really the only championship the Yankees won, World Series-wise, that had Brian Cashman's fingerprints on it was 2009. Because that's when he went out and spent George's money on CC Sabathia and Mark Teixeira. I mean, it's still the Yankees' core four, but he put his fingerprints on that team. I give him credit. But it's one world championship in 25 years. One. Think about if you were the CEO of a Fortune 500 company and you had, if you were losing money, you'd be out a lot quicker. But let's just say you had one record-setting year. In 25 years, your revenues increased only one time. Out of 25. If you're the general manager of a professional sports franchise and you've won one championship in 25 years, how do you still have a job? That's my point here. And with all due respect to Brian Cashman and his resume, I appreciate everything that he's done, but he's got to go. And again, it's a simplistic thing to do on social media, but I tweeted it the other day. Fire everyone except the chef. We like the chef. The executive chef at Yankee Stadium is beyond great. We love him. But everybody else, top, that whole baseball operation, Cashman, the front office, the analytics geeks, all need to go. Period. End of story. And that's where we are. The Yankees are going to be back in an abyss. And they're going to waste Aaron Judge's prime years. They've already started wasting. We did get to the World Series last year. But this is a mess. And it starts at the top. And Hal Steinbrenner's got to wake up and get rid of the whole baseball operation and start over again. I think a Yankee fan, especially someone of my age, maybe a little younger, you've experienced the winning a little bit, I think you'd be okay with it. If it got you in the right direction. Now, as far as the Mets are concerned, I have more hope and would have more optimism that the Mets can get this turned around before the Yankees will. I like this Mets team. I think they're going to be okay. I don't know if they're going to win the NL East because they're 5.5 games back now. I don't think the Phillies played last night because they were 5.5 after Sunday. But I think this Mets team, if they can get certain guys back on track and they can get that pitching in order, I think the Mets have a better chance of getting this thing straightened out before the Yankees do. But, again, I mean, one gut punch after another over the weekend. If you're a Met fan, I mean, you had to be pulling. I know, Tony, you don't have any hair left. I don't have much either. But you had to be pulling your hair out to lose games the way that you lost over the weekend. You get a guy out. They call a pitch clock violation. Guy hits a home run. You can't hold a 5-0 lead and a 6-3 lead. Right. I mean, those are gut punch games. And I get and I listen. You want to try. Baseball is played basically every single day, and you want to get back out there every day. You know, there's a saying. You know, momentum in baseball is only as good as your next day's starting pitcher, and sometimes. You're going to have a bad game. You get out there the next day, your pitcher throws 7 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 10 strikeouts, and you're feeling better about yourself. But the Mets really needed that off day yesterday. And now they'll open up a series at Citi Field against the Braves tonight. And I think they really needed to hit control alt delete. But I do think the Mets can get this together. I believe in Carlos Mendoza. I believe in the moves that the Mets made. I think this is a good team. And I think, again, 5.5 games out behind the Phillies, that might be a tough ask. Now, they do have a series. I'm pretty sure they're in Philadelphia, too. I know the Mets are hosting the Phillies later in August because we're planning on going to one of those games. But you basically have to, like, sweep or come close to sweeping all your games against the Phillies because you can't assume that they're going to go into an abyss either. But and that's the funny thing. Both teams are in a playoff spot. With all the trouble that they've had, both teams, I would just have more optimism if the Mets get it turned around before the Yankees do. It's just an awful feeling about the Yankees, and I know things are not going well for the Mets right now, but I just think they have the pieces in place. And let me just say this about Pete Alonso. It's not very often, well, this depends on the team that you root for, but when he's I'm trying to find the right words. It is so cool when a team's longtime record is going to be broken. And you might have been a Darryl Strawberry fan. I know Tony was, and I know that members of my family were and friends were. Sometimes it's hard to see a record go, but when it's a player like Pete Alonso, who's such a likable guy, and heard we were in the car the other day when he hit the tying home run that tied Darryl Strawberry. It was 253 now, 253. One more to be the all-time Mets home run leader. That is such a cool thing to do. And it sounded like Darryl. I've seen some interviews with Darryl Strawberry. I think he's going to be okay with it. Remember, like the Mets didn't want him back. He left to go to the Dodgers. Like they didn't try hard to bring him back. He could have been a Met for life. It just didn't work out. But I think Strawberry will embrace this because Alonso's obviously going to break the record. And I'm glad. Hopefully he gets to do it this week because he did it the other day. I guess it was on Saturday that he did it or Sunday. Sunday. Right? It was Sunday that he tied the record. Yes. Yeah. You want to see him do it at home. And I hope Met fans get to see that at Citi Field this week. That would be really cool. But again, if you're a Mets fan, I think you again, I don't think you're winning the division now, but I think you'll be fine. And listen, you can catch lightning in the bottom of the playoffs. The Yankees, I have zero confidence that they're going to turn this thing around. Zero. I just don't. And I want to see the Yankees go in a completely different direction. Before we go to a break, and before we talk Jets with Will Parkinson, and Tony, I'll tell you exactly when to start the video.
Okay.
And I tweeted this out last night when it happened. I've been very, very fortunate, my wife and I, my wife Cheryl and I, we've been very, very fortunate in the 17 years that we've been youth sports parents and on to high school and college and all that stuff. We've been very, very fortunate to see some pretty cool moments for both of our kids. And not just our kids, but the teams that they've played on. There's been just incredible, one after another. We've been very, very blessed and very, very lucky. And of course, there are some times when a season doesn't go the way you think it's going to go, or you hope it's going to go. My son Jared is in his second year playing with the Nassau County PAL summer baseball program. And he enjoyed it the first year last year. And then this year back and playing for a team called the Red Lightning, based out of Merrick. It was not a good season. I mean, these kids fought so hard. They did not win a game up until last night. And this was really cool because, listen, when you keep losing games, at some point frustration sets in. Doesn't matter if you're a Major League Baseball player, you're in AAA, whatever it might be. It's got to be hard, right? They did not win a game. Last night, they get a 5-3 lead into the last inning and the 7th inning, and it's 5-3. The other team scored, New Hyde Park scores to make it 5-4. And here's where we are. The tying run is on third. There are 2 outs in the top of the 7th inning. And you're about to watch the last out of the game. And look at this celebration after they win the game. Tony, if you can roll it. My son Jared is playing first base, and he makes the stretch, and they get the guy out at first base. And look at this celebration. That was tremendous. So, again, I've been around some pretty cool things, and here's a picture we're going to look at right now of a team picture after the game. I actually, and again, I really didn't do anything. I'm almost embarrassed to even talk about this part of it. But the manager's son, the manager is Dan, the son is Sammy, and he got a little ill before the game last night, so he couldn't play. And Dan was looking for someone to come pick up the equipment. I volunteered along with Jared. We were driving there, and he said, "Okay, you're in charge." And I was actually served as the manager last night.
Oh wow!
I really didn't. Don't get too crazy about this. Don't get too crazy about this. I really didn't do anything because Dan made up the lineup. He told me where everybody was going to go each inning, and then I had 2 or 3 other parents, some other dads that had helped out all year long, and they really did a lot of the work last night. We certain decisions had to be made. We came up as a group, and I'm like, okay. I coached third base and held the the clipboard and everything like that. So, I guess if you keep stats at home, I got credit for a win, but I really didn't do anything like everybody was congratulating me after it. I'm like, I really didn't do anything. I mean, we called Dan and Sam up in at the hospital, and he's fine. We're very, very glad everything is okay. He's good. It was a scare, and that was the most important thing last night. But he's going to be okay. Everything is fine. But the first thing we did afterward, one of the other parents picked up the phone, called Dan, and we told him that he had won the game. And he was obviously very, very happy, and Sammy was obviously very, very happy. But just going back to it, again, this is why you just don't give up. You just don't. And listen, there's no championship for this league or anything like that. It's just you're having fun playing baseball during the summer. And it was the first time I was in the dugout. I really didn't do anything. But it was so cool to be around those kids last night and to see their excitement that, they had basically just so many hard times during the year. And for them to experience a win was just so cool. And I thought that was fabulous. Congratulations to all of them and to all the other coaches and the parents that helped out during the year. That was just so cool to be a part of. Yeah, I can't stop smiling about it. I woke up this morning smiling about that. That was pretty cool. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk a little Jets football. Will Parkinson is going to join us from the Turn on the Jets podcast and Badlands when we come back right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,500 families, raising over $43 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $6,700 each, and your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 76 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Morning Lions Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. I'm Peter Schwartz. This segment of Sports Bash is presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm Peter Schwartz. We'll get back to your phone calls, 516-465-3990. But time to talk a little Jets football here on the program. And the Jets obviously in the middle of training camp, coming off a win in their preseason opener against the Packers in Green Bay on Saturday. This Saturday, the Jets take on the Giants in the annual preseason meeting between the two teams. But before that, the Jets and the Giants are taking part in 2 joint practices this week. Today was at Florham Park. Later in the week is at the Giants facility at the Meadowlands. And on the line with us to talk about Gang Green, about the Jets from Turn On the Jets podcast and Badlands is my good friend Will Parkinson. Will, it's Peter. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. So you were at the first joint practice today at Florham Park, and I heard Aaron Glenn, the Jets head coach. I heard his press conference afterward, and he kind of called it from a Jets perspective an up and down practice for the Jets today. How would you describe it?
Yeah, I would say very similar. I thought the offense started off well. I was mainly watching the first team offense versus the Giants' first team defense. I thought, generally speaking, Fields started off really well. I thought he played under control, poised, got the ball out of his hands, some check downs. He had a really nice throw down the sideline of Braylon Allen, and then one to Tyler Johnson and Mason Taylor as well. Do 7-on-7 and 11-on-11. Right after that, there was a second and long, a third and long period. The Giants kind of beat the Jets up a little bit in terms of that front four, plus Abdul Carter for the Giants. Kind of took hold of the drills in that respect, and then the Jets finished up well. So up and down from an offensive perspective, I thought Fields generally was pretty good. The Giants defense definitely got home, at points, especially in that second and third and long periods. But overall, up and down day, and generally Fields had a nice day, and I thought the defense, on the other side, gave the Giants a lot of problems. No Malik Neighbors for the Giants, so everything, and Quinn Williams, Jermaine Johnson back, but off to the side. So some starters missing for both teams, but generally speaking, a solid day from a Jets perspective.
We're going to focus more on the Jets, but are the Giants concerned about Malik Neighbors?
It's hard to. I mean, they don't seem concerned. He had the toe coming into camp. He's kind of gotten banged up throughout camp. He's a guy, obviously, without Neighbors, the Giants have no chance of having success. So they need Thomas and Neighbors respectively on the field, and I think for them to have any type of success because the defense looks good. The offense overall is really focused around those two guys. So it doesn't seem like there's heavy concern, but it feels like all year he's going to be a guy that plays and doesn't practice very much.
It was good to hear from you, and I saw this from the other reports as well, that Justin Fields had a good day, which is great to see because he's able to build off of what he did on Saturday in that one drive where he winds up scoring on the touchdown run. I thought he looked terrific on Saturday night in Green Bay, and obviously from a quarterback position, the Jets need to get that stabilized, and they made a 2-year commitment to him following the Aaron Rodgers fiasco the last couple of years. But I was really excited to see Justin Fields on Saturday night. He looked great. What are your thoughts on him so far in camp and through the first preseason game the other day?
Yeah, I thought he's been a little up and down during camp. Again, training camp's a little tough because part of what makes Justin Fields really exciting is his ability to run and extend plays, and generally during camp, you're just not doing much of that, right? It doesn't really help the defense, obviously, and from an offensive perspective, trying to work on the passing, the more kind of traditional passing game. I thought, he again, like I thought he's built on the last couple of days. He had a pretty rough couple of practices, a weekend ago, and when they had their inter-squad scrimmage, I don't think he looked particularly great. Some drops and things like that, and then the last 3 practices combined, and as well as the preseason game, he's been much more efficient. Getting to his check downs, taking off when it's open, and he pushed the ball down the field a little bit today, and he had a couple really nice plays scrambling out of the pocket. So he's going to be a really exciting player to watch. It's going to be a little up and down at times. There's no doubt about that. But if the Jets can kind of keep him in second and manageable, third manageable, and keep the ability to run there, I think they can offer some dynamism in the offense.
I think they only played together 1 year at Ohio State, but are we overthinking it a little too much that Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson will have some instant chemistry this year?
No, I don't think you're overthinking it. I think they're guys that, again, just have some type of familiarity, with each other. And to me, I think that stuff goes a long way, right? I think, those different out routes. I know they missed it on Saturday, but got back out there today and were able to kind of have some success. There's 3 straight plays during 11-on-11 where Fields went to Wilson a couple times over the middle, one on an out route. So yeah, there's some chemistry there. It's kind of hard not to have chemistry with Garrett Wilson. He's pretty much always open, always available. So they should be able to provide some exciting plays on Sundays. And Fields had a lot of success with a guy like DJ Moore, who's I don't think is quite the player Garrett is, and him and Garrett have chemistry. So I expect to see some big things from them going forward.
With the offense, you can have all the skill positions you want, but if that offensive line doesn't protect, it's not worth a damn thing. And I know it's been an issue for the Jets the last few years, but in watching the reports and then seeing the game on Saturday, I was at one training camp practice a couple of weeks ago, and it really looks like this offensive line has the makings of something special. They looked really, really good on Saturday night. What are your thoughts on the Jets O-line right now as we are a few weeks away now from the start of the season?
Yeah, I think they've looked like a really good outfit so far. Today I think was probably the most challenging day, or one of the more challenging days they're going to have all year, right? I think going against Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Levittown, and Abdul Carter is no joke. The Giants do a lot at them. I thought the Jets offensive line responded. Olin Fashioners looked unbelievable in camp, especially in pass pro, which is to be expected, and the run blocking's improved. John Simpson was back today for the first time. He was out the last week or so. Joe Tippmann played well at guard. He looked good against today at center. He got beat once by Carter, but Abdul Carter's going to beat a lot of people, especially when he's rushing with a full head of steam. And then EBT's looked like the all-pro, Pro Bowl level player we all expect. And then, Membo was great on Saturday night. He had some trouble today at times in pass pro. That's to be expected. He's a rookie offensive tackle. That was a part of his game that was going to need to be developed. And he looked really good again on Saturday night. I thought Brian Burns got him a few times today, but that's kind of to be expected, and it's something you honestly like to see, that Membo was going to be able to respond and did a better job as practice went on. So the offensive line should be really good, and again, if they can keep them kind of going downhill, running the football well, it'll allow them to give Fields some time back there to throw and make some plays with his legs.
Do you think Joe Tippmann's going to settle in at guard other than center, or do you think there's still a chance he could be the opening day center for the Jets?
Yeah, I think he'll be the opening day center. I think it'll be across the board fashion. left to right fashion, Simpson, Tittman, AVT, and then, Membo at right tackle. I think they've given Josh Myers an opportunity to compete for the job and things like that. But I think Tittman's availability in terms of an ability in the run game, especially to get out and move people and pull and do things like that, I think is something that Myers just, he's a really quality backup. He's a guy it's nice to have, but, you saw on Saturday night, the one spot I would say the Jets were weakest was at center with Myers. So you'd love to have Tittman, who's definitely one of your best five, in my opinion.
We're talking to Will Parkinson from the Turn on the Jets podcast in Badlands. He joins us here to talk Jets on Sports Bash with me, Peter Schwartz, and the Jets and Giants preseason game is coming up on Saturday night. Let's flip over to the other side of the ball on defense for the Jets. And you mentioned Quinnen Williams was back at practice, but off on the side. How about this Jets defense in your mind this season? They were supposed to be so good last year. They had some problems throughout the season, but when you look at this defense right now, top to bottom, how do you size them up?
Yeah, I think they should be a top 10 unit. In terms of how high in that ranking they can get, can they be as good as they were in 2022? I think the talent's there to be as good of a group as, maybe not the best defense in the league, but certainly maybe more like a top 5 unit than top 10 unit. I think, to me, the biggest kind of X factors are what kind of health do you get, right? Because they lost C.J. Mosley and Michael Carter pretty early on last year, and Jermaine Johnson, which were 3 Pro Bowl-ish level players or Pro Bowlers the year before. So when that happens, you're going to struggle. Those guys were, big factors in terms of communication. Having Quinn, Jermaine being activated, those guys are really crucial. Will McDonald looks fantastic in year 3. Put on 15, 20 pounds of muscle. It's good against the run. And obviously he's kind of maintained that pass rush. And then, linebacker core is as good as it gets in the league. And secondary-wise, Sauce Carter, we all saw on Saturday night, looks every bit the player he was his first 2 years. And frankly, might be better than he was his first 2 years. So consistent play out of the safeties. It just needs to be league average at safety. Brandon Stevens, if he can be a league average corner, and then you have guys like, again, you have all pros or Pro Bowlers at every other level in terms of Quincy. Sherwood played at a Pro Bowl-ish level last year, and then obviously Jermaine, Will, and Quinnen. So it should be a really good group. They've got a really good defensive staff in terms of not just Steve Wilkes and Aaron Glenn, but from a position coach perspective, guys like Chris Harris and Dre Bly, and football fans probably remember Dre Bly back with the Rams, a long time ago. He's, in that cornerback room as well. So there's plenty of talent there. That should be a really good group. And if they can stop the run and get consistent play and some injury luck, they should be a really good unit. And
Will, from a special teams perspective, the Jets going younger at punter, but they are turning back the clock at kicker, bringing back Nick Folk. And when I saw this, I chuckled because he was so good for the Jets during that the playoff run back 2009, 2010, had that big kick to win the game against the Colts in the playoffs. And then we find out, obviously, Jason Taylor was a teammate of his on that Jet team, and now Nick Folk is a teammate of Jason Taylor's son Mason with the Jets. So it's come all full circle for him. It's pretty cool to see Nick Folk back on this team, and he can still kick, right?
Yeah, no, he's the most accurate kicker in the league the last 2 years, which is crazy, age 39, age 40. So he made 96.7% of his kicks. He's 40 to 51 over the last 2 years. He had, funny enough, last year, his longest of his career since he was on the Jets in 2010. So, he's going to be a guy who's probably not going to offer you the 65-yarder, 60-yarder at this point in his career. In fact, I would be shocked if he did. But the difference is he's going to make his extra points. He's going to make everything pretty much from 50 and in. And this is a Jets team that needs to take 3 points where they can get 3 points, right? And keep stacking drives. And they can't afford what they did last year, where they had a lot of chances to either win games or tie games and missing extra points. That stuff can't happen this year. So Nick Folk was here the last time they won a playoff. They even were in the playoffs, let alone a playoff game. And maybe he brings it back, 16, 15 years later. And it has got to be pretty crazy. Mason Taylor was 5-6 years old, probably at a Jets game, in his dad's jersey last time Nick Folk was kicking for the Jets.
Yeah, it's amazing how that story has unfolded. It's obviously a new regime for the Jets, Will. Darren Muji, the new general manager, and Aaron Glenn, the former Jet player, now the head coach. So far, your thoughts on both? Obviously, Muji has put this roster together as best as he could, given the circumstances, trying to reshape it a little bit. And now Aaron Glenn has come in with kind of a no nonsense, lunch pail type of attitude as a head coach. What do you think of the new regime so far?
Yeah, no, I've been really impressed. Right, I think they deserve the benefit of the doubt. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of respond when the bullets start flying during games. But Muji, and Glenn obviously are kind of a collaborative effort in terms of the front office. But the Jets got the three biggest decisions of the offseason, in my opinion, or four, if you want to call it that, was obviously you got to nail the draft, but it was what to do with Aaron Rodgers, and then are you going to extend Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson? And I thought they handled all three really well. I thought draft, especially the first couple rounds, where those guys are already contributing. So from a Muji perspective, you'd like to see them probably add one more receiver. Maybe it's a waiver wire, maybe it's a trade, maybe add another body, defensive tackle or things like that. But overall, all things considered, in the first-year regime, I've been impressed. And then from a Glenn perspective, it's really hard not to. It's like a Hallmark movie. He talked about today. He's like, this is the only job I've ever wanted. This is my dream job, and it's hard not to believe him. He said he got emotional a couple of weeks ago walking out on the practice field for the Jets again, and player here. They gave him a shot in the NFL. Not only that, it was his shot as a scout, and it's just he's really impressive to watch. He's constantly kind of yapping at these guys. I thought it was interesting today. In fact, he spent the entire day with the offense. Wasn't over there with the defense, and was excited about that. But kind of the trope, I guess, of a defensive head coach. He's been very invested on the offensive side of the ball. He's shown a willingness that can't be ignored as well. And just these little things of kind of accountability, getting guys ready to play. I felt like the tackling in camp, bringing back some of the alumni. I know these are little things that maybe people are like, oh, just let's see you win games, and I totally get it. But all the little tests he's had this offseason and his first kind of training camp, he's passed. And it's going to obviously all point to week one now, but I've been really, really impressed with Glenn from a guy who you're rooting for, but you also want to see kind of results out of, and I thought camp so far he's been damn impressive.
And last thing, Will, what do we look for Saturday, against the Giants? Obviously, the starters played in the first preseason game a little bit. What I know Aaron Glenn will probably divulge later in the week what the plan is for Saturday. But I would think if they played in the first preseason game, I would think the starters will probably suit up again on Saturday as well, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I was trying to think about the third preseason game, and you never know, but he's a guy that's built in by now, post the Eagles-Jets game in a week's time. But from a Saturday perspective, maybe you see a quarter, maybe you see a quarter and a half. Glenn will obviously let us know. I think it'll depend a lot on how tomorrow unfolds. If the staff feels like they got enough out of these joint practices that they don't need to go a half. I think in a perfect world, Glenn probably would love to see these guys play a half and really get acclimated into what the season's going to be like. But I can also see him saying, hey, 3-4 series, especially from that offense, you want to see them build on a really nice, successful 10-play, 5-minute drive, the whole 9 yards on Saturday. Can you build on maybe 1 or 2 scoring drives? And again, they're going up against this Giants defense should be really good. And I think the more reps you can get Armand Membu against Brian Burns and Abdul Carter, the better it'll go for him week 1 against TJ Watt, right? So I would expect Glenn to play these guys. I think the third preseason game, I can see him resting a majority of players, especially the Garrett and Sauces of the world, but Fields needs the reps. And, I think this Jets team as a whole just getting ready to play, kind of instilling that culture. So I would expect between a quarter and a half. I guess depends on really just how things go. I don't know about you, but I felt like Saturday night, if they went 3 and out, they would have gone back out there for another series. Yeah. But because they were on the field for so long, I think Glenn was like, we got in, got out, and it's good. So I expect more of the same on Saturday. Yeah,
I'm with you on that, no question. Will, before we let you go, how can people consume your content online on social media? Tell everybody how they can find your stuff.
Yeah, Will PA11 on any kind of social media, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. And then the Turn on the Jets podcast and TOJ Talks on Badlands. So wherever you get your podcast, Patreon, the whole 9 yards. And appreciate you having me on.
No problem. We'd love to have you on all the time. And I think you told me you're going to be out there next Wednesday. I'm going to be out there with my family, so hopefully we'll get a chance to say hello.
Yeah, we'll catch up. Yeah, we'll catch up. And no, I appreciate it. And, yeah, happy to join you whenever.
Absolutely. Will Parkinson, Turn on the Jets podcast and Bandlands. We thank him so much for joining us here on the program. Still more to come. We've got the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. The TicketBash.com sports calendar is coming up. We'll tell you a little bit about what's coming up on Thursday. All that and more coming up when we come back with more Sports Bash right after this.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,500 families, raising over $43 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $6,700 each, and your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 76 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Hi, I'm Peter. Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and the Ryan Anthony Heating and Air Conditioning Service. Tony let this go a little bit. This is Billy Joel. We always come back for the last break with a Billy Joel song. This is Weekend Song. Let's listen to a little bit of it. This is from Street Life Serenader. And if you usually I have a rhyme and reason why I play Billy Joel songs, which ones I pick. There's really no rhyme or reason for this one other than the fact that I was on the train Saturday morning going into work at FAN, and you know these algorithms on social media, whether it's YouTube or Facebook, like if you listen to a Billy Joel song and you go back in and you have that thing, your mix or whatever, and it finds songs that you think you would like. So all of a sudden my mix not only included other songs that I would want to listen to, but it included Weekend Song, and I've heard the song before, but I hadn't heard it in like God knows how long. And I'm like, wow, this goes back to, who we talking about here? It's Billy Joel, but it's a great song. It really is. And like now I'm gonna keep it in my mix.
As you should.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, also, and I'm a little bit late to the party on this too, but my wife and I started watching And So It Goes last night.
It's about time.
Yeah, I know. look, we have a kid in college and a kid going into high school. He's playing summer baseball.
Get those priorities.
I'm working 72 jobs and stuff like that. My wife's got a busy schedule too. We have very, very small amount of time, small windows to watch TV shows. So we're gonna do this systematically and get through the 5 hours of it. But the hour that we watched last night, the first hour, is just incredible. And again, you think you're the biggest Billy Joel fan in the world, and sometimes I think I do, and sometimes I know I'm really not. I'm just one of many Billy Joel fans. But there's so many things that you find out in this show.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure there's so much more to come. But there's unbelievable stuff about his personal life that some people just really didn't know about him.
Sure.
And that's the incredible part about this.
Right. Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. And such great rare footage, and the music is, of course, unbelievable.
The footage is unbelievable.
Yeah,
Some of that
that's what
old
gets
stuff,
me.
and we saw the part last night with his original bands and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and that thin tie he was wearing with that really bad looking suit.
Right, yeah.
That was really cool last night. So I look forward to watch a little bit more of it tonight after the Ducks game tonight. I'm doing public address tonight for the Long Island Ducks. I think they're playing York tonight, but I should know who they're playing. But more importantly, also tonight, and this is kind of personal for me, it is Jewish Heritage Night at the Long Island Ducks game, and so I get 1 or 2 games a month, and I just happen to get this game, which is pretty cool. So we're gonna have some fun there tonight. Hopefully the Ducks win, and on Jewish Heritage Night, and they're going to have fireworks after the game, so looking forward to going and working that game tonight. Sports Bash is presented by TicketBash.com and the Ryan Anthony Heating and Air Conditioning Service. It is time for your sporting event calendar, brought to you by TicketBash.com. Connor Kalb has sent us the calendar, and let's do this again so he can clip this easily for social media. It's time for your sporting event calendar, brought to you by TicketBash.com. Today, the 12th, and tomorrow, the 13th, the Yankees continue their series against the Minnesota Twins at Yankee Stadium. Also today, the Mets open up their series against the Atlanta Braves at Citi Field, also playing on the 13th and the 14th. Then on the 15th, that's this Friday, and by the way, that is also my wife and I's anniversary on Friday. The Mets start their series against the Mariners. That's on the 15th, and then over the weekend as well. By the way, the Friday night game it's Beatles night, and they're also giving away a miniature replica of Shea Stadium on Friday. So that would actually be a cool thing to go to see. On Saturday the 16th, the Jets and Giants preseason game at MetLife Stadium. It is a Giants home game for those who are keeping score at home. You can grab tickets to these events and more at TicketBash.com. They've got no service fees and the best prices around. It is now time for the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. And again, I teased this at the beginning. I know Tony's going to love this, the big Met fan that he is. And with Pete Alonso in the news, tying Darryl Strawberry's all-time Mets home run record, about to break it, or you think he'd be about to break it. Recently, Pete Alonso did a signing with Coach's Collectibles, and here we have a 16x20 autographed photo. And I texted Dom at Coach's Collectibles when he sent me the picture, and I said, is this an 8x10? He goes, no, it's a 16x20. I'm like, wow, that is a nice, and look at just the photography of that is incredible with the lights out at Citi Field. It's a beautiful picture autographed by the polar bear Pete Alonso, 16x20. Coach's Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. Check them out online at coachescollectiblesny.com. Tony, I'm going to go a little bit out of order, just on the subject of Coach's Collectibles. Sure. They've got a couple of big events coming up. First of all, tomorrow night, a Mets watch party with Howard Johnson at Rudy's in Patchogue. So that's got to be a lot of fun with Hojo, and grab some dinner, watch the Met game with him, get some autographs. And there'll be another Mets watch party with Endy Chavez at Bullsmith's Tavern in Smithtown on August 23rd. Tony, do you relish the Endy Chavez catch as a big part of Mets history, or do you look at it as a disappointment because of how that game ended?
No, because of the way the game ended, we're Mets fans. We're used to losing. So, no, we relish whatever we can get our hands on. That catch was epic.
I look at that. it's funny. I didn't mean it to be like a dick or anything like that. There, I used a bad word today on the show. Tony likes it when I use curse words. But I didn't say that to be a schmuck about it. I said it because, like, obviously there's other parts of New York sports history. Like, for example, for the Islanders, Sean Bates' penalty shot in the 2002 playoffs against Toronto. Right. Great moment. Islanders win the game, but they lost the series. The biggest one for me as a fan is the John Starks dunk in the Bulls playoff series. The Knicks won the game, but they lost the series. So how big of a part of history is it if you wind up losing at the end?
Yeah, but you could still enjoy the memory of
the moment. Right. Like
right.
the Robin Ventura grand single.
Exactly.
Right. Great moment in Mets history. They lost the series, but it's still a great moment.
Absolutely.
I can understand that as well. It's time for the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. We post a poll question every Tuesday and Thursday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. Do you think starters should play in NFL preseason games? And we give you two choices, yes or no. I wholeheartedly say yes. And I say yes for two reasons. Number one, and we talked about this with Will Parkinson about the Jets at least before, some guys need reps. The last thing you want to do is go through training camp, you show up opening day, and I know you don't want guys to get hurt, but I think some of these players, if not all of them, need a couple of reps during these preseason games, and I think they should play. Here's the other reason why I think they should play. And this, I was a 10-year Jet season ticket holder. If you are going to charge your season ticket holders full price, regular season prices, and look it up online, I didn't see the Jet prices, so I looked it up for the Jet Giant game on Sunday. But at ticketbash.com, you'll get great prices on Saturday. But if you go to Ticketmaster, the regular Ticketmaster, and you go to buy Giant tickets for Saturday at regular prices, it's $90-something. So it's regular season prices. So my feeling is that if you're going to charge regular season prices to your season ticket holders, then I think the starters have to play. I'm not saying they have to play the whole game, but they should be in there for a series. Like if that was a home game Saturday night, the Jet-Packer game, and I went to the game, and Justin Fields and the Jet offense did what they did in that first drive, and the defense did what they did in the first two drives, I would have said, okay, you know what? We can go home now. Right. I would have been happy because I saw what I needed to see. So I think for the two reasons. Number one, I think the players need the reps, and I think the fans deserve to see the starters if they're paying regular season prices. On the subject of the Jets, this past Friday, and you guys know, Marty Lyons Foundation is the official charity arm of Sports Bash Media, and my family and I are proud to be volunteers with the Marty Lyons Foundation. We did just that on Friday at the 4th Annual Marty Lyons Foundation Vincent Vomero Memorial Bowling for Wishes event at Levittown Lanes here on Long Island. And we're going to look at a video now that I took of the event. Packed house, so many people having a great time bowling, raising money for a great cause, some great food. And by the way, the food at the event donated by our good friends at the Embassy Diner. So thanks to Gus for donating the food for this event. Yeah, you can play the video. Yep, absolutely, Tony. You can play that video. And you can see a little scroll that I did across the lanes and around. And when the camera comes around, you'll see there are some raffle prizes, some great raffle prizes that were donated by teams and people. And we donated some items as well. But it was just a great event. Saw some great people there. Marty Lyons was there. Greg Buttle was there. Mikey Big Hand, the Hulk hands, the big Jet fan that's got the big green Hulk hands at the games. He was there. Claudio from Gotham City Crew was there. So great for me and my family to be there and be volunteers again. And got this really nice shirt out of it, this Marty Lyons Foundation shirt. So listen, you do a nice deed, you do great things, and you get rewarded with a nice T-shirt. So how awesome is that? And by the way, the next foundation event will be the 3rd annual Courage Golf. I didn't send you an image. Don't worry. No, nervous. Tony was getting nervous there because he didn't send me a picture for this. He's shaking. I had to tell you. No, I didn't send anything to you about this. I totally forgot. That was on me. Next foundation event will be the third annual Courage Golf Classic, September 15th at Indian Hills Country Club in Northport. For more information, go to MartyLionsFoundation.org. I did the coaches collectibles, so we can skip through that because we just did it. Coming up this Thursday. Now, today we focused football-wise on the Jets with Will Parkinson. Thursday's show, we're going to focus on the Giants on Thursday. We are working on a couple of Giants guests. And just, again, I don't know who it's going to wind up being. Maybe it's both of them. But we've got calls out to have a former Giants player and a current Giants player. Ooh. So it's very possible, and again, for Jet Boy here, it still would be pretty cool. But it's very possible that if luck goes our way, we could have a former Giants player and a current Giants player. Right now, I will sign up for one of the two. Sure. If we get one of the two, I'll be very, very happy, and I'm going to follow up with one of them as soon as I get home. That will do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com and Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service. Thanks to my guest, Will Parkinson from Turn on the Jets podcast. Thanks to Tony Walker. So good to see you again, my friend, after a couple of weeks away.
Likewise,
yes, thank you, and thanks to everyone here at Governor's Comedy Club. Thanks to our social media coordinator, Connor Kalb. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, the Marty Lyons Foundation, and Coaches Collectibles. Thanks for watching, everyone. We are back with you here at Governor's on Thursday.